What's your comfort show? The incomparable NBC sitcom Community. Whose line is it anyway? The Drew Carey era. King of the Hill. What was the largest averted tragedy of all time? Stanislav Petrov refusing to launch the Soviet nukes despite the incoming US ones. It was glitch, obviously, but nobody knew that at the time. His off-book judgment call saved us all. A while ago, a large passenger plane almost landed on a taxiway where 4 full passenger planes were waiting to take off. The pilots of the first plane in the queue, noticing the incoming aircraft, turned on all the lights they had. The pilots of the landing aircraft were barely able to climb out. This would have easily been the largest aircraft disaster in history. Humanity collectively decided that we'll just buy different hairspray and close the continent-sized hole in the ozone layer. I know it wasn't just the hairspray savior, but actually, this was mad tabah. Scientists went, hey, this chemical is bad, stop using it, and the world just went, yeah, that sounds reasonable. These days, people would be going wild with anti-ozone groups springing up. In the 1950s, FDA pharmacologist Francis Oldham Kelsey, despite heavy pressure from pharmaceutical companies, refused approval for the drug thalidomide, intended to relieve morning sickness in pregnant women, claiming the drug needed more testing. Thalidomide was approved in almost 50 other countries and was later found to be the cause of thousands of infant deformities and miscarriages. Didn't quite save everyone, but certainly a large portion of a generation in the United States. Not largest at all, but when Vincent Coleman realized the 2 military ships were going to explode in the Halifax harbor, he sacrificed his life so trains would stop and not come into Halifax when the ships would explode. And French Navy officers tried to warn people, but since the people only spoke English and the Navy only spoke French, they started grabbing people's children and running away from the harbor, knowing that people would run after kidnappers. They saved a lot of lives by their quick thinking. What's one thing that almost everyone predicted wrong? 2020 being a fun year. We really said new decade, new me. I don't think anyone could have predicted that The Simpsons would still be airing new episodes for this many years. Almost everyone incorrectly predicted the impact of social media on society and its ability to unite people around the world while promoting polarization and misinformation. How Steve Irwin was going to die. Eaten by lion. Eaten by a crocodile. Venomous snake. Sure, but stingray barb to the heart? Never. 10 years ago, tech enthusiasts were putting out think pieces on the imminent arrival of the self-driving car. Long-haul truckers would be out of work en masse within the decade. Today, the technology is quietly still growing, but we have a shortage of truck drivers. Results of the 2016 presidential election. Those making 100,000 plus, what do? Love how I'm just scrolling through as if I'm on Indeed looking for a gig that'll pay me $100K a year. Own a donut shop. Cancer scientist, $140K. Auntie passed away from a brain tumor when I was a child, and she was like a mom to me. Seeing the situation tear my family apart woke something in me. Now, I'm trying to be a part of the solution. Edit. To clarify about my career and how I got here, 31 male. I went to a 4-year university and got my degree in cellular and molecular biology. I got my master's degree soon after and started at the bottom at a biotech company. I started out making $12 an hour after college. Can you imagine? I was definitely a little distraught at the time, about 9 years ago. But I held in there and remembered why I was doing what I was doing. I actually was able to climb the ladder through being a genuinely pleasant person to everyone I met and taking the work, studying, and projects very seriously. I asked a lot of questions and tried to be a positive influence to everyone. I have to say, being nice and respectful will get you farther than you think. Be the person that everyone smiles when they see. I switched companies multiple times, taking huge pay increases each time as my skills and knowledge increased. Then I landed at my dream location. Sometimes it's about putting your ego to the side and starting at the freaking bottom. You can do it. To clarify a bit about my motivation and why I do what I do, losing my auntie shattered my entire fucking world. She was my everything at the time. I was only 6 years old. My family was super tight-knit and loved one another so much, so this had lasting effects on everyone. I developed a severe anxiety disorder, and sitting around and not doing anything about it just kind of ate away at me through my young age. That positive anger has gotten me through college and beyond. A bit of advice that I give to people now that go through trauma, to be honest, is to just let yourself get fucking angry. I started getting pissed the fuck off, and I figured out how to channel that energy into something she'd be proud of. It's why I wake up in the morning now. I implore everyone who has a passion and who has a motivation to find some way to implement it into your lives. It doesn't always have to be your career either. And also, don't forget to have time for your hobbies and friends. I definitely have developed an obsession for video games because it helps me escape from reality. A fast-paced life needs balance. Anyway, I appreciate everyone's kind words. Cancer is a bitch. It's all one big puzzle, and we're trying to figure this out one piece at a time. I have high hopes for treatments, but cures are probably a little bit out of the scope right now. It's almost impossible to cure because of how it works. This video kind of explains. Treatments are groundbreaking, and there are some amazing things coming. I hope everyone who has suffered through this fucking piece of shit disease heals and gets through it in any way possible. Good luck to you all. Nothing really at an engineering company. Lawyer, but it sucks. Don't do it. If 10,000 of you send me $10, I'll tell you. I am an office manager. I order supplies, pay bills, arrange security cards, put things away, make sure we have enough coffee, and keep track of all our vendors. I make a $25K. What's the dumbest thing someone ever told you that actually worked? I worked for a courier company, and this happened to my boss. He was on a long delivery out in the country. We're from Virginia, but he's currently in Kentucky. We're pretty country ourselves, but not like this. This is pre-smartphone era, so he stops to talk to a local for directions. Guy said, "Go as far as you can see, twice, and there's your turn." My boss stared with bewilderment at the level of deliverance that just came out of this guy's mouth. But he fixed his eyes on a spot as far as he could see. He drove to that spot and made a mental note of the next farthest spot he could see. Upon arriving at the second spot, dead on was the little unmarked turn he was looking for. We still quote it to this day. Go as far as you can see, twice. I read a newspaper article about a guy who went to his local convenience store and bought 2 lottery tickets. Most people in that situation would play different numbers on each ticket in order to double their minuscule chance of winning. Not this guy. He was interviewed and said he believed that playing the same numbers on both tickets would double down his chance, showing somehow that he was really serious about wanting those numbers to win. So that's what he did, but it turned out that he actually did have the winning numbers for that drawing, and he owned 2 out of the 3 winning tickets. Therefore, he was entitled to walk home with 2/3 of the jackpot instead of just half. I had a headache at work years ago at a previous job. I almost never get headaches, so it was pissing me off because I couldn't ignore it. My coworker, I can get rid of it. Come here, I'll squeeze your head. Me, what? I'll squeeze your head. And sure enough, he grabbed my head and squeezed the sides so hard, I thought he was going to fracture my skull. Then he squeezed from front and back. Better? That headache was gone and never came back. Now I go around curing my coworkers' headaches. Everyone thinks I'm nuts until it works. If you find yourself obsessing about something, set a date and stretch of time to worry about it. I have no idea why, but that was the only thing let me set something down in my mind and sleep one night. It was a piece of advice my mother gave me a few days earlier. Ironically, it was something else she'd said to me that was the source of the worry. That the 10C per copy Xerox machine at my high school, that gave change for dollars and dimes, would accept Xerox dollar bills in the bill changer. The Secret Service gave the school a visit to explain to us how bad a crime counterfeiting was. Got a fuel pump for a very old S10, put it in the truck, it did not work. Googled problem, lots of other people having same issue with same fuel pump, and no answer. Some random guy on a S10 forum that I found on page 3 of Google posted 10 years ago that the instructions were wrong on that fuel pump. You needed connect the red wire to the black one, and not the green one, like the instructions said. Worked instantly. One day I came home from work, and there was this little white box sitting on the counter. I asked my wife, "What is this thing?" She said, "It's a box that emits a high-pitched sound that only cats can hear, and it will keep Spike off the counters." Me, how much did you pay for this magic box? It was $50. $50 for a magic box that's not going to work? Can you return it? Let's just see if it works and I'll return it if it doesn't. I ate my fucking words. This was 10 years ago, and my cat got up on the counter one time after we got the box and then never again. The box doesn't even work anymore. I think it's not even plugged in anyway. Still, the cat won't go near it. Well, that's another episode of Ask Reddit in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.